Criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj is here to share his thoughts. Yesterday, the indictments, the arrests. Today, the fallout, and it is severe. The CEO of the big hedge fund, he was forced to step down. The partner at a top Manhattan law firm, he'll likely be disbarred, I'm assuming, and he lost his job as well. What kind of jail time, prison time might some of these folks face?
Excellent question. In a federal indictment and an investigation that's taken more than just a haphazard amount of time, here we know from the indictment that it was going on, the conduct was occurring since 2011 until the present date. So you really have a totem pole, so to speak, of severity of defendants and severity of quality and character of the offenses that are alleged. So in this case, we have Mr. Singer, who has accepted a plea and has agreed to cooperate well before these indictments were unsealed. So he will face the most amount of time. Interestingly, he will also get the most amount of a benefit because he has been part and parcel to other indictments coming down the line.
He ratted out the parents that he was helping.
Well, it's a tough position for somebody like Mr. Singer to be in, because usually what happens is the federal agents will knock on the door, and in this case they'll say, Mr. Singer, we need to talk to you. We have all of this information. We can do it the nice way, or we can do it the mean way, which means turn around and we'll put cuffs on you. And in federal cases, in direct comparison to state investigations, it's more of this methodical creation of the investigation to follow all the leads. Now, let's be sure, this investigation did not start with Mr. Singer. It's an unrelated federal investigation. Someone was in trouble. Somebody like Mr. Singer said, well, let me tell you what I know, and play ball with me when it's time for sentencing, and therefore now we have this national and international scandal.
How would you defend these parents? What would your strategy be?
Well, it's very interesting you ask that, because I really believe that these parents are much more mitigated than they are being portrayed. It is very much a pay-for-play allegation. It doesn't look right, it doesn't smell right, it doesn't taste right. However, if you look at the conduct from the parents' point of view, it is an extraordinarily desirable carrot to wave over their heads. How do you not do everything you can to help the kids within certain limits? So while it's criminal and while it's illegal, it's also highly mitigated, and that's what the United States sentencing guidelines take into consideration.
How do you defend yourself, though? I mean, these indictments show that many of these defendants were listened to, they were wired, and you have all of this dialogue about them knowing that what they're doing is against the law, or it's not right. I mean, there's no way you could plead not guilty to this. You just have to kind of, you're at their mercy. Is that not right?
That's correct, and I think astute defense counsel in this case, looking at a few of the excerpts that were included in the actual indictment, would be well advised to explore an entrapment defense, because let's not forget Mr. Singer is acting as a government agent when he's talking to parents saying, hey, by the way, we can do this as well. This is a side door I can introduce you to. Again, it's a very tasty carrot to try to avoid for a parent who's trying to get their kids through probably one of the most stressful things you can do, which is college education and placement. So yes, it's hard to deny culpability, and once that sort of half-hearted exploration of an entrapment defense is done, all of these defendants will eventually plead guilty, save a few. And interesting to note, most of these defendants, judging by my history in these cases, have already sat down with the agents. They've already had defense attorneys. So the fact that the indictment is unsealed and we see some arrests and one arrest and initial appearances does not by any means mean that the investigation is starting now. Many of these individuals have shown up to court, not in handcuffs, through the front door and walking out the front door, and this is something that's coordinated with defense attorneys and the U.S. attorneys. So they've been playing ball or not for quite a while now.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about the coaches. I mean, that's despicable what some of these administrators and coaches were doing, they'll go to jail, right?
Well, they may or they may not, because you also have to look at their mitigation. Some of them may have been compromised financially. A lot of these college coaches, we have, University of Texas, a tennis coach, they're not getting paid millions of dollars, and some of them are very young and also themselves just out of college or graduate school. So there's a lot of mitigating evidence that has to be presented. The beauty of our federal sentencing guidelines is this. It used to be mandatory. You fit in a box of your criminal history and the offense category, how serious your crime is, and you're sentenced within there. Now judges have discretion, and we'll see them exercise it in this case.
Thanks, Vic. Appreciate it. Vic Bajaj.
My pleasure.
Thanks for the
Thank
insight.
you.
We'll, of course, be following this for, I would imagine, quite a lot longer.